God is a spirit. Yes, God is a spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. All right. So, and then the woman said to him, I know that the Messiah come, and yeah, and if you read this by yourself, and you would know that the woman really had talked to Jesus, and she had gone out to the city and said, "Hey, look at this. There was a man, you know." Let us start again. This woman is from Samaria, and in the times before, they are not allowed to speak with the Jews. For example, there are tribes that they don't get along well together, and they don't have nothing to do with each other. But this woman, she's fetching water, and Jesus said, "Can you give me a drink?" And the woman said, "Why are you talking to me?" It's just like our reaction sometimes when there are people who tells us, "Hey, how are you?" And or just some people are just rude, like, "Why are you talking to me? Who are you? What you want? What you want?" And this woman has something like that character. "Why are you talking to me?" You know. And Jesus just answered. This is crazy. It's like Jesus answered, "If you only know the gift of God, these persons that ask you, give me a drink, you would have asked him, and he will give you the living water." It's just so sweet kind of answer Jesus gives. And the Samaritan woman said, "But sir, you don't have anything to fetch water with. You don't have any stuff to use, and the well is so deep. So how can you have water? Are you greater than this, than our father Jacob?" It's just like us when someone also tries to share something good to us, and you say, "Who are you? Who you think you are? Are you greater than this? Are you greater than that? Huh?" And there is some pride, and then Jesus says that there is a living water in him that he gives to us. This is how he treats people that have sinned. He goes and seek after them. He goes and finds them. And then Jesus revealed something to the woman, that go call your husband and come here. But the woman is not married. She had 5 husbands. Let's imagine that now there was a woman who had got married and then divorced and got married again and 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 divorced. 5 who have had 5 husbands. But the man she is living at that moment is not her husband. So there are like live-in partners, let's say, which we call now normal. In those times, those are not normal. Those are not normal. And if you are a believer and living with a man that is not your husband, I suggest that you would get married. And if you are a man living with a woman not married, get married. You already have children. But if you are still boyfriends, please abstain from sex. Please abstain. I pray and I beg you, take heed to that. Okay? Keep yourself pure until you are married, because that's the failure I did, and I regret it. I regret it. It was so good if I was that pure when I got married, but I wasn't, because I made a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to do. Because I didn't know God. I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know that. But now that I know which is right and which is true, I tell you to abstain until you get married. And yes, so this woman have spoke to Jesus, and now, she just left her water pot, and she just went to the city and say There was a man who told me all the things I ever did. Can he be the Christ? You know, and this became like a big testimony, you know, and Jesus had touched her heart. Jesus had touched her life. Jesus had touched her innerly and know her well. You know, that's the Spirit of God in Jesus. And that's the same with you and me. So don't be shy to God. You know, you can be shy to certain people. You can be shy to your parents. You can be shy even to yourself, but don't be shy to God. Open your heart to Him. And Jesus even speaks to the thief on the cross in Luke 23. It's in 43. Um, one of the let's say Luke 23 in from verse 39. There are two men on the both sides of Jesus when he was crucified. So that we could understand this better, let's see. One of the criminals who were hanged blasphemed him, saying, "If you are the Christ, save yourself and us." But the other, answering, rebuked him, saying, "Do you not even fear God, seeing you are under the same condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds, but this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said to Jesus, "Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus said to him, "Assuredly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." You know, this was the hour when Jesus was already hanging on the cross, and they have already put him there without a cause, and because it is the will of God to redeem people from the sins and from all the sicknesses and all from being apart from God. So Jesus has to be there, and he have chosen to obey God, you know. So he went there. And now one of the criminals said, if you are the Christ, if you are the Son of God, save yourself and save us. Come on, you can do much better than that, you know. And the other one said, are you not afraid? Are you not afraid of God? Don't you have a fear in God? You are in the same situation like me. We received what is true. We receive what is just. We receive the reward of what we have done, because we were criminals, and this is what we have to go through. We should have this. But this man, Jesus, he did not even have anything evil done. He did not do anything that is wrong. And he is here. He did not do nothing wrong. And he is here on the cross with us. Are you not afraid of that? You're saying such things, you know. He said like that. And then he said to Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom, you know. And Jesus had promised him that from that day, he is with him in paradise. Could you see? Could you see that? Could you see the contrast of religious people? Could you see the contrast of religious people from the character of Jesus in the Bible? The religious people who uses the Bible and doesn't even teaches each and every one of you to forgive. For Jesus forgives and says, forgive, for it is one of the will of God. And in the Old Testament and in the New, when you read the characters of God, God is forgiving. And why shall we not forgive? And people say, reason with their minds like, because I am not God, so I will not forgive. I will take with me the hate until I die. Could you hear? Could you hear that sound? You know, it's like, it's so bitter. It's so angry. That person wouldn't even find happiness. Even if they would find a way to make themselves laugh, that's not happiness. Laughter is not a true happiness. Laughter is just a reaction. It's just a reaction of emotions. But when you are true happiness, no matter what they did to you, no matter who did that to you, no matter if someone pushed you around, no matter if someone have betrayed you, you won't be affected, because when you forgive, you just easily forget it and just move on, and just do what is right. That's the power of forgiveness. And it will free you from the prison. Prison is when you are angry to people and you still keep remembering them all the time, over and over, until, for example, you started in 1999 when you started to get angry at someone, and then suddenly you wake up, it's already 2016 and you're still angry. Where did the years go? You didn't even experience happiness. You didn't even experience good things in your life because you spent your life in agony, in anger. So I pray that if someone of you have this kind of problem, please forgive. All right? Please forgive. Okay, my beloved people, I hope that this teaching had blessed you. So, when you forgive, you have to forgive because you love the Lord. That is in Matthew 6. Matthew 6:14. Let's go there. Okay. If you forgive, remember this, if you forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Right? So, forgive the people, because not because you want to be forgiven, but you forgive them because you love God, and that is how you will know your identity, that you will not be moving here and there because of other people, because your life does not consist of other people. Your life consists of God. That is your image that you have lost. In the image of God. In the image of God, you should be loving, you should be forgiving, you should be merciful, you should be gracious, you should be compassionate, and always be ready to forgive. There was a verse also that says, when Peter asked, how many times does my brother sins against me? And Jesus says, you have to forgive him 77 times. Could you even count the many times when a person does a lot of wrong? You couldn't even count them, but every time they do wrong, you have to forgive them. You have to forgive them, because if you are a true believer of God and you follow Jesus, there shall be no stain of evil in your heart. There shall be no stain of evil thoughts in your mind. There shall be no thoughts of bad things about other people. Okay, I'll just drink my coffee. Give me a break. Okay, I like coffee. I cannot love it, because if I love it, I should show compassion to it. No, I'm joking. I'm joking with you guys. So, when a person did something against you, approach them quickly and gently, and be open to restore relationship, forgiving each other. That's Galatians 6:1 and 2. And in Ephesians 4:31-32, these are the characters that we have to put off: wrath and anger from our hearts and mind, and be gentle and loving, just as God loved and forgave us. Yes? And in Matthew 22, second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? So if you love yourself, you will do a lot of good things for you, and you will give yourself good things, and you will make possible things to make you feel good. But you don't need to do, the only thing you need to do for people is to forgive them, no matter how hurtful they have done to you. You know, I was a victim of rape, and I was locked into that place for from March 10 to April 30 almost, and that's almost more than a 30 days, you know. And I carried bitterness and anger. I was angry with my parents. I was angry at myself, who I was. I was bullied. I carried all this bitterness in my heart for many years. When I was about to turn 18, that was the moment when I was raped, and I carried it for 13 years. You know how bitter I was, and I noticed when I woke up one day, I was always crying, and that led me to depression. That led me to unhealthy lifestyle. My heart are always nervous. It's pumping so hard, and I couldn't sleep. I'm always in grief. I'm always in sorrow, when the truth is I don't even have to be filled with sorrow, because the joy of the Lord must be in me, because all the things had Jesus done already on the cross. And the only thing I have to do is to step out of that fear, to step out of that anger, and to forgive people, you know. And the moment I forgave, and there was one also, a man that I fall in love with in my teenage years. I took anger against him. I carried that anger against him for 10 years, or more than, you know. And the time I came back and see him, the Lord had led me to forgive him, and I forgave him. And you know what happened to him? The Lord had changed his heart, and I introduced him Jesus. I introduced him God, led him to Christ. And a friend of mine had been continually being with him and talking to him about God. And then at that moment I forgave him. His wife had a cancer. His 2 children are about to die from malaria. And if you know malaria, there are the disease that can only be cured by blood transfusion, or even some just die quickly. So we prayed for him. We carried his burden. We didn't cease to encourage him. In the midst of everything, we encourage him to give praise, to give thanks, because the Lord says, in the midst of everything, give praise and give thanks. And you know, his son died of malaria, and there was another one that almost gonna die, and we prayed for this child, and we prayed again, and the child lived. So he had 4 children before, now he have 3. And then his wife who had a breast cancer. From the last time I heard of him, his wife got healed. Could you see that? Could you see? This is the power. This is the power of God. And this is not just about forgiveness, you know. The truth is, it's also about compassion to people, you know, and being courageous. It's not easy to forgive, but you have to be courageous. You know, you have to be courageous to step out. And God will not, if you ask God, give me this courage, you know, He already have given you that. The only thing is that if you are very stubborn to put out your feet and step it out, then nothing will happen. So I hope that my testimony also have blessed you. All right? Be blessed, everyone. Bye.